Hi, welcome back everyone. It's Bruce McPherson, and today I wanted to talk to you about critical thinking. So the reason I want to talk to you about critical thinking is because, in my opinion, there's been too much of basically stuff being presented to us in the media and social media, and very little critical thinking in terms of, does this make sense? And specifically things being forced on us where when you stand back and just look at it critically, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. To put this in context, I wanted to talk to you about the body and how we get rid of waste. So one of the ways we get rid of waste, there's three ways. Basically, we have solid waste, we have liquid waste, and we have gas waste in the body. Solid waste, obviously, we take in food, the body absorbs the nutrients, and then we expel through our bowels the solid waste. Secondly, we drink liquids. We use those liquids in our body. If it's good water, it'll help us nourish our cells and then take the toxins out of our body. Third way is gas waste. And this isn't talked about a lot, but if you eat the wrong foods, anyone knows that you can expel gas out of the bottom end and it doesn't smell very good. But the other way we get rid of waste is through our breath. So we inhale oxygen and nitrogen, we exhale carbon dioxide. But in the process, we also exhale bacteria. So getting to my point, we are forced when we go out to stores and different places to wear masks. But applying critical thinking, the question we ask ourselves is, well, we wouldn't, when we're going to the toilet, put a diaper on just before we're about to sit on the toilet, because obviously that's not going to let the waste get out. Well, when we put a mask on, there's a whole bunch of effects that are not beneficial to the body. So first of all, you're not allowing the carbon dioxide to escape. And when you build that up inside of a mask, you end up with elevated levels of carbon dioxide in the blood. And what we want is high levels of oxygen in the blood, not carbon dioxide. So we breathe in oxygen, nourishes our body. The waste product is carbon dioxide. So you don't want something restricting that. So going back to the critical thinking stage, when this all first started a couple of years ago, and we were told to wear masks, I had a business in pattern concrete, and I was forced to wear a mask because we put powder on top of the concrete, so when we put the pattern mats on, it wouldn't stick. This is the mask I wore. So at the end of the day, I would take my mask off, double cartridge filter mask, blow my nose into a Kleenex, and still have black dust coming out onto that Kleenex. When they came out with masks and said we need to wear these masks, this mask, when you put it on your face, there's all kinds of gaps here, there's gaps under here, and there's gaps here. So applying critical thinking, I'm thinking to myself, if this is not preventing dust from getting into my nose, this is doing absolutely nothing. And now we know that basically a virus is much smaller than a dust particle. So then you critically think and say, well, what are the risks versus what are the benefits? So on the benefit side, if someone's sick and they have this on their face and sneeze, it's going to keep all those micro droplets from going all over people around them. Definitely a benefit. If I'm healthy and wearing that mask, there's really no benefit. And if I look at it and think to myself, how often has someone sneezed directly in my face or within 6 feet of me? In a year, it might be once. So the probability of this protecting me against that is small to none. So what are the risks? There was a research study in Antwerp, Belgium, where they took 13 volunteers, and I'm going to read this to you. They were healthy volunteers, and they wore masks for 4 hours. After the 4 hours, they tested the masks, and what they found on those masks was Bacillus, Streptococcus, and numerous other bacteria. And of those bacteria they found, 43% of them were antibiotic resistant. Now what's interesting is there was a study done back in 2008 where they looked at the Spanish flu, and they found that the flu infected a lot of people, but after the fact, they got bacterial pneumonia. It didn't say in the study that that was from masks, but when you lower your immune system with a viral infection, then you're more susceptible to other bacteria and viruses. So putting something on your face that then after 4 hours is full of bacteria is likely going to cause that to end up in your lungs as opposed to exhaling it. Going back to the critical thinking, I think it's really important when something's proposed to us that we not take anything from the media, social media, or anyone at face value. We do our own research and apply our own living experiences and say, does this make sense? I'll give you another real life example. During the middle of all of this, my wife woke up in the middle of the night and she had pressure on her chest, pain. She thought she was having a heart attack. So we called 911, she went to the hospital. I couldn't go with her because they weren't letting visitors in, so it was terrifying for me. And what they found out was she had bacterial pneumonia in her lungs. Now what's interesting is she hadn't been out in public other than to go and get groceries. We were both perfectly healthy, and this pops out of nowhere. And the only thing that I can reference is she wore cloth masks. And what they found in that study was cloth masks actually hold and retain the bacteria even better than surgical masks. So one of the recommendations is if you have to wear a mask for a long time, either throw them out or they have to be sterilized. So I hope you can apply this to your own life, and when you're presented with facts or information, apply some critical thinking and say to yourself, does this make sense? And is it something I'm going to benefit from? Or maybe I should just go a different route. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.